Hey guys, what is going on? It's your boy, the Mad Kiger, and up here today, as promised, is Paramount Plus has now launched in the UK. Although actually it launched yesterday for some people. I was able to download and install and subscribe to Paramount Plus yesterday on both my Amazon Fire TV and also my Google account. You do get a week free trial, which is great, but I've got my first impressions of it. I'm going to share with you a few features and things on here. At the end, I'll give you some improvement that I think could be made and whether or not I think it is worth the subscription. So for those of you who don't know what Paramount Plus is, it is a new streaming service owned by Paramount, the conglomerate company. Of course, Paramount, a huge company that owns so many different companies. They own companies like Nickelodeon, CBS, Comedy Central, MTV, and of course, like many streaming services, it's got their own sort of thing. And it's understandable that Paramount has done this. It's been out in the US for a while. It was under a different name for a while, CBS All Access. But now we finally get the definitive version of it here in the UK. And of course, I love when new streaming services come out. Even though I have a decent amount of physical films and movies and shows, I prefer actually watching stuff on streaming services because you get the you get an entire series there to watch. It's easier, you don't have to worry about constantly having to find that version and paying extra, But that's a story altogether. So here are my first impressions. First up, the layout. I think the layout of Paramount Plus is quite similar to, say, Netflix or Arrow or something like that. I think the layout is actually pretty good. I think you have your main menu, and again, it depends on what device you're using it on. But you have your main menu, which has your sort of showcase, what things are there, and then obviously different genres, that sort of stuff. But I like the layout. It's very similar to Netflix in a way. One thing that I love is you can actually go to series and movies, and it actually has everything in alphabetical order. It has all series, so you're able to scroll through everything, which I love. I think having something in alphabetical order is so much better. It's a feature that both Netflix and Amazon Prime and even Disney Plus don't actually have unless you actually delve into it a little bit more. I think it's great. I think the layout is really nice. Really sort of, easy, friendly to use. I don't think it's confusing in any way, and it works both. I've tried it on both mobile and the Fire TV, and I think it looks great. I'm going to give the layout a 5 out of 10 stars out of 10. I think the layout is perfect. It has everything where you need to be. It's not like Netflix where you're trying to search for something and you might find something and it's not there and you have to look it up. Everything's where it needs to be, and the alphabetical, all series, all movies, in my opinion, is a massive plus. So 5 stars for me. I'm doing it based on stars. The layout is excellent. First lineup. So first of all, I'm a little bit torn really here, because originally when I was looking online, it was saying it was going to have like 2,500 films and 30,000 episodes of TV shows. And unfortunately, it doesn't have that many, unfortunately. I think I've counted around about 250 TV shows and about 300, 400 movies so far. So it's got a long way to go in comparison to, say, Amazon or Netflix. Now, I think this is going to be like Amazon, like Netflix, like Disney Plus. It's going to be added to weekly. Now, the first lineup, I was able to find a decent amount of kid stuff, Nick Jr. stuff and milkshake stuff. So for the young audiences, shows like Paw Patrol, Peppa Pig, Blaze, Fireman Sam. So stuff that your kid probably already has watched, and it's all there together. There was a decent amount of Nickelodeon shows, both old and new. Some of the classic live actions like iCarly, Victorious, Ned's The Classified Survival Guide. Some of those shows that I remember when I was younger. And also some classic Nickelodeon cartoons. SpongeBob SquarePants, Fairly Odd Parents, Danny Phantom, Jimmy Neutron. So some of the big heavy hitters, even Rugrats, which is great because a lot of those shows haven't actually had proper releases in the UK on physical media. And also and also they haven't had they haven't had the one sec. They haven't had physical releases and stuff like that. Then you've got your obviously your live action shows. There is a fairly there are some live action shows. There's some classics on there. Cheers is on there, which is awesome because that hasn't been on anything, so I can actually get rid of my DVD set. There's of course some MTV shows on there like the Geordie Shore or Jersey Shore. Not really for me, but you know, I know that some people like those shows. Some reality shows, some documentaries, and a ton of originals. Of course, probably the most sought after one is probably the Halo TV show. But there's also a few reboots and stuff and originals on there. Of course, there's a rebooted version of Rugrats, a rebooted version of iCarly, with the original cast. So shows that obviously, you know, there's a couple of spin-offs of SpongeBob. Patrick's got his own show. There's a 3D version of SpongeBob. Stuff that, you know, it's nice to see that there's some original stuff that you won't be able to watch anywhere else. And I think the original selection is pretty decent. You know, and the movies, I had a look through the movie list and they're not terrible. You've got some classics on there. You've got some more modern movies on there, some originals as well. The one that stood out for me was they had the Friday the 13th part 1 to 7, which I thought was awesome because I had the Blu-ray set, but I sold it, unfortunately. So, you know, the movie selection could be a little bit better, but it has a bit of everything on there. You've got some horrors, some dramas, some action, some comedies, some classics. A decent selection. However, it's not what they originally promised. Now, again, like I said, this will be added to over time. It's not a terrible first lineup. I'm going to give the first lineup a 3.5 out of 5 stars. It's not the worst of the first lineup. There have been worse ones out there, but it's not what we originally expected. And again, it's only day one, so this is a day one impression, by the way. So it's not terrible. I went through there, and about when I went through the movies, not so much, but the TV shows, I added about maybe 50 or 60 TV shows on there that I'm going to watch. So there'll be enough on there. You got to think there's about 250 TV shows on there, and it, you know, about 300, 400 movies. So even if you watched one movie a night, that would still be enough to last you all year. So, you know, there's plenty on there at the moment, but it's not a huge amount. So that's why it don't get the 5-star treatment. 3.5 I think is decent. There's enough on there for me to go, okay, this is pretty awesome. Some stuff that hasn't been released elsewhere, that may have been on other streaming services. Of course, Star Trek's on there. The only 2 Star Trek shows that aren't on there at the moment is the Picard series and the Lower Decks. Although I think Lower Decks was an Amazon exclusive. The same with Picard. But they will be moved over to the Paramount Plus once the thing. So there's enough on there for everyone, I think. But it could be more. And then the next one is the features and the quality. So the features of this, so it has got everything you need. It's got your subtitles, and you know, you've got your ability to change the quality, which is pretty cool. I don't know if you can do it on the TV, but on my phone I noticed it come up with quality low, high, medium, you know, that sort of thing. Which is kind of cool, you know, much like YouTube, you can choose what quality you want to stream it in depending on how much data, if you're using data, Wi-Fi, whatever. Not a huge massive feature, but something that I think is pretty decent. Of course, subtitles are there, which is a must-have for me, in my opinion. If something doesn't have subtitles, it can often ruin the experience for me. But there are a couple of features that are missing, unfortunately. There's no skip intro option. Netflix, Disney, Amazon all have the skip intro option, which isn't a massive deal breaker, because you can just, you know, use the, you know, skip forward and past it if you really want to. But it is a small little feature that I think that a lot of people use, because I think once you've watched the intro once, you don't want to see it every single time, you know. And there's no way to skip to the next episode when the credits come up. It will just play the credits till the end, and then it will load up the next episode. A small little feature like that, that isn't there. As for the quality, so it streams in up to 1080p and had the I think it's Dolby 5.1 audio. I had no issues with it. Again, like I said, the quality is decent. It don't stream in 4K, unfortunately. However, again, 4K streaming, let's be honest, I think Disney Plus is the best one when it comes to quality, because when you watch Disney Plus movies, the Marvel films in 4K look fantastic. But again, not everyone might have a 4K TV, so it's not a massive deal breaker to some people. The quality is good. Like I said, some of these shows like Cheers, the old Nickelodeon TV shows, might have only been released on DVD, never had a Blu-ray release, so you are getting a better quality than DVD. 1080p is fine with me. It looks good, it sounds good. I've not had any issues. I've not really delved in and watched a ton of stuff. I've loaded some things up just to see what it looked like, and it looks fine to me. So for the features and quality, it gets a 4 out of 5 stars for me. There are a few little things that they could add to it, but nothing that's really a deal breaker for me. Next is the price. So Paramount Plus is $6.99 a month or $69.99 for a year. I think that's a fair price, if I'm honest with you. Let's look at the main 3 competitors. There are a ton of smaller streaming services out there, but that's their dedicated streaming service. I'm talking about streaming services that have a bit of everything. Netflix, for the highest tier, is $14 or $15.99 a month. And you're basically having to pay extra for the 4K. Whereas Disney Plus is $7.99 a month, and so is Amazon Prime, and that is included in the price. Paramount Plus is $6.99 a month. I think the price is fair, or 70 quid for a year. You do save yourself £14 if you go for a yearly subscription. And you do get a 7-day free trial, which I think is great because it gives you a chance to check it out and then decide whether or not you want to pay for it. It's not one of them free, because some free trials aren't actually free trials. You actually have to have the money in your account in order for you to process a free trial. With this, you don't have to do that. It will not take money out. If you subscribe through Google Play, at least, it will not take the money out until the 7 days are up, which I think is great. So the price for me is a 5 out of 10. Excellent price for what you're getting at the moment. It's decent, and it's only going to continue to get bigger. Will the price go up over time? I don't know. I think for year 1 and possibly year 1.5, between year 2, I think it will get bigger, and as it gets bigger, they might up the price. But as the price goes, it's cheaper than Disney Plus, it's cheaper than Amazon Prime, and it's cheaper than Netflix. But of course, as you know, those streaming services have more to offer. But for a first price point, I think it's fair. Devices. So you can access Paramount Plus on Google and Android devices such as Android phones, Samsung phones, smart devices. You can access it on smart devices like Fire Sticks. And stuff like that. I'm not too sure if it's on PlayStation and Xbox yet. I don't believe it is. But it's on enough devices that you'll be able to watch it. And I also think if you are a Sky customer and you own Sky Cinema, you also get Paramount Plus for free included in your deal. Now, I'm going to have to look into that with Virgin because I'm not too sure if that works with Virgin. Because I do have Sky Cinema through Virgin, but I don't think Virgin are offering Paramount Plus inclusive on their price. But there's enough devices that you'll be able to watch it on. So I think devices gets a 4.5 out of 10. It's not on every single device, but I think most of the main devices, smart devices, smart TVs, and obviously Fire Sticks and Google's, Apple, that sort of thing. I think most people have those devices anyway, so you are able to access it on a major amount of devices, just not every single device. Now, as we go into improvements, so I think there are a few improvements that could be made. The first one, obviously, like I said, is the lineup. I think they need to add more things, but like I said, they definitely need to add more things. I think a lot of some of this stuff is licensing rights at the moment because, like I said, some of these shows and movies might be on other subscription services like Amazon and Netflix. So I think Paramount are waiting until they run out and then it'll be transferred over. I was hoping for some more vintage Nickelodeon cartoons like Cat Dog, Rocko's Modern Life, Our Real Monsters, you know, what's the other one? Cat Dog. They're not on there. Beavis and Butthead isn't on there, unfortunately. The movie is, but the show isn't on there. The Jackass TV show isn't on there. The new Jackass movie isn't on there. But that would be one of my main things that I'd like to see. More things come to it. Like I said, the first lineup isn't terrible, but I think they need to add some stuff on there. And hopefully, maybe in this time next month, that will be the case. It's not the worst, like I said, but there is still a ton of things they could add to it. I think they definitely need to maybe include, I think 4K streaming would be nice. It's not a deal breaker for me, but I think they will add that to it. Again, I think another thing I'd like to see them, like I said, add the skip intro option and the load next episode option. I think they're small things to it, but honestly, I can't really think of too many more improvements, to be honest. I've heard some people said they've had buffering issues. I've not noticed that myself. So again, maybe they have internet issues. I don't know. All in all, I'm going to give Paramount Plus a 4 out of 5 rating. I think it's a good launch. I think it's got a fairly decent amount of stuff on there that's going to warrant people to subscribe to it. Price is excellent. The layout is great. The amount of devices that are on there and the quality is decent as well. I think it's a great launch. I think it's only going to continue to improve. As we know, we're going to be Paramount have also said that 45 days after a Paramount film or TV show, I think it's a film more so, has launched, Top Gun Maverick is probably the newest one. 45 days after a film has come out, so a month and a half after a film has come out in theatres, it will be on Paramount Plus, which I think is great. I mean, that's awesome that we're going to be getting a lot of these movies coming out, and Disney does the same thing with their like Marvel and films like that. So I'm glad that Paramount are doing this and we're getting early access to these films, probably quicker than say you know, thing. And I think Paramount have also said within the next 2 years they won't actually be releasing these films in cinema. It will go straight to Paramount Plus, which again might be a bummer for some people, but I think that's great. I think we'll be able to access these movies from the comfort of our own home and enjoy them in our own time. With family, with friends, on our own. You know, is Paramount going to be the new Paramount and Chill? Who knows? I'm going to follow Paramount Plus very closely. I think it's great so far. I think it has some improvements that could be made. My biggest one, like I said, is we need to get a few more things on there. I think that's going to be a turn off for a lot of people, that they promised us that that it was going to have a ton of stuff on launch, but it hasn't got as much stuff. But there's enough on there for you to warrant it, warrant at least a free trial and possibly, you know, maybe a couple months worth of watching it. Is it going to be your sole streaming service? I don't think it will be. Is it going to warrant you to cancel any other streaming service? No. I don't think that's the case as it is now. Maybe in a couple years' time, we'll see. We'll follow your career with great interest. So Paramount Plus, thumbs up for me. 4 out of 5 overall. It's not the perfect rating. I rate it as very good. Yeah, there we go. So if you guys enjoyed this video, feel free to leave a like and of course comment below. Let me know if you subscribe to Paramount Plus. What are your first impressions? Are you is there anything on Paramount Plus that you want to watch straight away? For me, like I said, the old Nickelodeon, Fairly Odd Parents, SpongeBob, you know, and obviously Rugrats, of course. Some originals do look interesting. You know, they've got things like NCIS and stuff on there for some people. I think the one that's probably I'm looking forward to checking out will be the Halo TV show. I've heard mixed reviews on it, but hey ho. And as always, guys, subscribe if you haven't already. Join me and follow me on Twitter and Instagram at the Mad Kiger. And I should be back maybe tomorrow with the PlayStation Plus 2.0 upgrade video. My first impressions on that. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a nice day.